Hi, my name is Tim Bradrick, and this is my demonstration for Milestone 8. Due to some time pressures and so forth, I will be showing some modest milestones for the next few weeks. Uh, the milestone for this week was to have the squirrel only jump when he is touching a surface. So I'll go quickly and demonstrate that. It deals primarily with the adventure section, so I'll just jump in there. And here we have the squirrel. He moves back and forth just fine, and pressing the space bar. Previously, you could hit the space bar and he could soar up into the different areas. Um, and then you see that when he's not on a surface, he cannot jump, so or move left or right. What happens is that he continues to move based on the momentum of his movement just prior to the jump, and that was the goal. Now, to explain how I implemented it in the player character um, object in the game, what I did is I added an object here called ground check. This is just a transform that's being used in the Unity. And I also added a script, let's see here, in the, or added parts to the squirrel controller script. And here we see the ground check object, what is the ground, and the my squirrel rigid body. I also had applied um, different layers to the different objects in the world. So, for example, over here on the player character, the player is in the player layer. Um, and if we select the part of the tree, so we can find the tree down here, go ahead and expand it. There we go. And we have the branches as part of the surface. So if I pick the right one, um, get back into the scene view of it, there we go. There's the ground checked object. And then we see the squirrel starting out sitting on top of the collider for the branch. And the branch uh, has been put into the layer called the jump run surface. I'm anticipating having a different type of surface that the squirrel can climb up and down. So for jumping and running purposes, that's what this is. Now, if we come back to the squirrel controller uh, script, um, the additional objects that I had set in there, um, we can choose the different layers, and I can add or subtract different layers as I need to. Right now, just the jump run surface layer is there, and then the player, of course. Now let's show that in Unity. The squirrel controller script, um, these are the variables that I added for this functionality. There's a Boolean checking whether the squirrel is on the ground, the transform for the ground check object. It's just below his feet, so that will test whether a collider is just below there, and the size of the check, and then the layer mask determines what I can determine or what I can define as a surface. So if you saw in my example when he jumps on top of the bird's head, um, what I can do is I can add the bird to an object that he can jump on or jump away from when he's standing on top of it, and then of course the squirrel's rigid body. Now the main parts that I added here, um, there is a overlap circle check. Um, where it's taking the position of that ground check object. Let's get back to the player character. So again, just a very small circle just below his feet of that radius, and it checks against the different layers, and if that there is an overlap circle of that small piece with a surface, whatever I've defined as a surface, this will be set to true. And then there is an animator variable that will be used later as I add to the animation. And then down here, I add the grounded as part of the check for the jumping, as well as the moving. And right there's the moving right there. Okay, now, one of the things that I encountered when trying to set this up, I have two different types of scenes. I have an isometric view and a platformer view. The jumping is defined inside of the platformer, but the check for the grounded is being checked in both types of scenes. So one of the things that I had to do was to go in and make sure that the isometric scenes are also flagged as, the squirrel is being flagged as being on the ground. And that's what this else statement here is doing. And then one of the additional things was that the squirrel would stop moving forward when he jumped. So what I did is when he is touching a grounded surface, I'm applying the drag of 20 to his body, and when he's in the air, there's a drag of 0, so that he sort of flies over. If he was moving forward and then jumped. All right, sorry about the interruption. What happens is that I set the drag to 0 so that if the squirrel was running before he jumped, he will continue to move forward with his momentum. And that's what I have added. And let's see here. And another reason to add this into the squirrel controller section is that I have 3 different ways of controlling the squirrel. One is with the mouse, one is with the keyboard, and one is with the tap functions. So regardless of how that squirrel is being controlled, it's all handled inside of the squirrel controller script. Thanks.